Hi everyone, it's Mrs Gallagher here. Today I'll be reading Little Lon, written by Andrew Kelly and illustrated by Heather Potter and Mark Jackson. And this book is all about Melbourne, so have a little listen, have a look at the pictures, and we'll do some discussion in class. Little Lon. This is my story, and it is my mum's story. I'm old now, but once I was young. I was born in a small timber house at 42 Cumberland Place, Melbourne. It was a little lane north of Latrobe Street. I lived there until I got married, so I did all my growing up there. Here's what I remember of growing up near Little Lon. That's what we called the area around Little Lonsdale Street. It's all changed now, but back then it was something special. We didn't know it though. So there she is now in the wheelchair, and when she was little looking out the window. Our house was weatherboard. It had green wooden shutters on each side, and I used to think it was lovely. You can look at the pictures to kind of get an idea of this being in the olden days in Melbourne. Okay, you can see what the children are playing with. Looks like they're doing some cricket out on the street. You walked right into the front room. Okay, so you come in the house. Looks like, what room do you think this is? Yeah, like a little dining area. Okay, having a cup of tea. People from lots of different countries lived around Little Lon. The Haddads were Syrian, and they lived above their fruit shop in Lonsdale Street. Joe and Sadie Malouf from Lebanon and their 8 children lived above their boot-making business. George Fairs, a watchmaker and jeweller in Cumberland Place, kept a small display of watches in his front window. Mr. Joseph from Syria owned a taxi. The Kwongs were Chinese cabinet makers manufacturing inexpensive furniture. Old Mrs. Honor Madras sold lollies from a table in her front room. Imagine doing that nowadays. Someone's having a little shop in their front room. There were lots of street food back then, lots of hawkers. Some of the Indians living around the area sold turkey lollies, a type of coarse fairy floss spun onto sticks at the Queen Victoria Market. Crisp Malos, a Yugoslavian who lived at Cumberland Place, had a handcraft from which he sold roast chestnuts during the winter and Bratchy's ice cream in the summer. I went to school at St. Joseph's, a Roman Catholic school at the end of my street. Boys and girls were separated in the playground. Imagine that, children, separating the boys on that side, the girls on the other. Each morning the children had to wash their hands in warm soapy water. Heads were inspected regularly for lice, and every Friday afternoon the children had to swallow a dose of salt before going home. We should try that now. The only place to play was in the street. We played with spinning tops and made whistles from apricot stones. Sometimes we blocked up the gutters and sailed boats in them. Every Saturday night, we would go down to the city baths for a slipper bath. As cousin Len Deasley said, a shower freshens you up, but you can keep just as clean with a dish of water and a cloth. In Exhibition Street, just around the corner, there was a special place where you could go on a Sunday and take your roast leg of lamb or beef and your potatoes, and they would cook it for you. You dropped it off on the way to church, and picked it up on your way home. I remember that Mum always used to say that when she went in, the man would give her an extra potato from someone else's dinner. One time my brother John had a party in the backyard. Kids came from everywhere. Look at our names. Billy, Bertie, Philip, Bridget, Mamie, Nata, Martha, Emily, Katie, Winnie, Minnie, John, and me, Mari. Everyone has always been so kind to us. No one has ever even made us afraid. When you have lived so long in the heart of the city, you want to stay here always. And that's a little message by Tess, Mari's mother. Boys and girls, there's also a little bit of information at the back of the book that talks about Lonsdale Street and how it's in the city. It said that it used to be quite a dark place back before back before street lights even, or when they had a few street lights, there weren't many. It said there were lots of coffee shops, and that as the people began to slowly move out of the city and they started going to live in the suburbs more. And it says this book is based on Mari's recollections of her childhood. So this is a story that's, I guess, called an information narrative, where the authors use facts from her real life to create this wonderful story called Little Lon. I hope you enjoyed it.